welcome everybody. Do we have somebody online here? Carrie, are you there?
Yes. Yep, I'm here.
Well,
Hi, everybody.
Well, hello, how are you? Very good.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Very good. Well, then, what we need first is to approve our order of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve our agenda?
This is Jenna. I motion to approve.
Very good. Jenna, is there a second?
I'll second.
This is Hannah James. Oh,
Oh, Hannah, you're here too. Very good.
I am, yes.
Very good. Okay. Welcome. Okay. Did we get a second?
Yes.
Hannah seconded. Okay. Very good. So, is there any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That brings us to the minutes of January 17th meeting. I remember that meeting. Very good. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or changes? No, they're perfect. They've had 2 months to polish them. So, okay, those in favor of approving the minutes for January 17th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That brings us to public comment. Do we have public? No, we only have staff and friends. Is that right? Okay, that brings us to staff report. Megan, you have the floor.
Hello, you have my report in your packet. I'll just give you some highlights. As we get into the summer season, our community engagement events are picking up again. So those are opportunities for library staff to get out and talk to people who may not use the library or get them signed up for library cards and just let them know what all we have to check out and do. Other events coming up this month, the Children's Department are Earth Day focused with 2 events. Little Squirt Science for preschoolers will have experiments related to Earth. And Samuel Devick from North Dakota 4-H will be showing kids how to make seed balls that attract butterflies and other pollinators. The Little Squirt Science event requires registration, but the pollinators event does not. There are many events coming up in the next couple weeks for tweens and teens. I personally am most excited about the Star Wars Day event. The kids will be making their own lightsabers. I've seen a prototype. They look very cool. We also have a grab and go craft and an Enola Holmes themed scavenger hunt and activity. And all of those events require registration just because there are supplies needed. For adults, we have a couple larger events coming up this month, and they both happen to occur on the same day. On May 15th at Carlson is our spring plant swap. People are asked to bring in seeds or cuttings of their houseplants or leftover garden plants and kind of trade with them. Even if people don't bring anything, the library will have some supplies to give out of plants. That evening at the main library, we have an author visit. Christopher Vondracek, author of Dancing with Welk. The book is partly talking about Lawrence Welk and his rise in the history of music, and then part a memoir of Vondracek as he was traveling the upper Great Plains with his band, trying to become as famous as Lawrence Welk. And another musical event, we have a concert happening that's in conjunction with the Friends of the Library book sale on Saturday, May 6th at 2. The Crop Dusters will be playing a set at the main library. All ages are invited to come enjoy the music and then browse the books at the sale. Any questions for me?
Anyone? Well, thank you. Okay, that brings us to the director's report.
Yes, per your packet, you can see it there. The main thing you see is we've been moving ahead with the shade replacement project at Maine. And we've been meeting with JLG Architects, they're kind of the project management folks. And it's been good, really kind of working through that, because it becomes, the more you walk around and look at those things, the more complex it gets. And I'm glad we got folks that working on that and getting the details for a request for a proposal to go out to get a firm to replace the current shades at Main that no longer function, and look forward to that. If anyone has any other questions in regards to the items per my report.
Any questions for Tim?
Is that part of the facilities project that was going on, or is that separate?
That we knew about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those things have been kind of non-functional for a while. And it's been one of those things that's been on the capital improvement plan for a while. And then what really set it off was the controls for the upstairs just stopped working, and there's no replacements. We could do nothing with the shades on the second floor. And with winter coming and the glare coming in through the south, it was, and it's been very nice working with city finance and city administration. They've been very amenable to move that up and get it done, so we're excited.
Thank you, Tim. We have no unfinished business, so now we have this accumulation of business from the last group. So, first item is library budget request.
Yes, again, per your packet there, you can see kind of what we're looking at, kind of the background of what we're looking to ask for 2024. Starting out with staffing, and again, those two positions, the children's librarian and the reference associate LA3, both full-time positions. These are two positions that were identified when the admin team worked with human resources last year to look at staffing deficits. And so, again, they were part of the 4 FTE that were identified to kind of get us up to base minimum situation. The 4 LA2s were part-time positions were filled and supported. These 2 weren't, so we're going back and asking so we can get the total FTEs there. So that's where these particular positions have been identified and why they're on the budget for 2024. The other one there, you see repurpose the main coffee space. And again, Jenna, this is from the facilities master planning identification. And just some background on that, it's been vacant since last September. We went through the effort to identify another vendor tenant, and that was unsuccessful. And I think it's part of COVID and what it did to hospitality. And again, working through the facilities master plan, we really identified things that we don't provide currently to the public, that we have this, in terms of our project, absolutely low-hanging fruit, empty space. We just can't afford to not have it utilized to serve the public. And you can see that the things that we identified there, mother's nursing room, and let me see, a laundry unit for the stuff in the wiggle room, and a gender-neutral bathroom. Those are things that we don't currently have. So we're looking at that again. I've been working with JLG on that as well, and they're working on a cost, and that'll be going into the 2024 budget. In terms of operating, you can see, and again, by the top one, 7010, that's Maine, 7012 is Carlson, and 7016 is the Northport. Pretty incremental, just based on the activity of what we experienced. Certainly when it goes to books and periodicals down there, 6170 at each of that's in conjunction of looking at how the demand for e-content's going and how that continues to rise, and keeping in line in terms of the print collection as well. So it's a pretty conservative ask in terms of operating, because we're fairly healthy in regards to that. On the revenue side, it basically reflects activity and what we've been told in terms of the state library, in terms of state aid, which is rather minimal as well. So I think what we're looking for in 2024 is really focusing on the major needs that we identified through working with facilities master planning, staffing analysis to human resources. So if I could get some board motion on that, or answer any questions you might have.
questions for Tim? Okay, well, we can, there'll be another chance to ask questions after, get a motion. We need a motion to review, and approve.
We're motioning to approve or,
Yeah, well, I guess we have reviewed.
okay.
Motion to approve.
This is Jenna. I motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Wait a minute. Thank you. Okay, any more discussion?
My only question is there no family bathrooms right now in the library?
There are.
There are. Okay.
They're in the children's
Okay.
area currently.
Like where it's just a single,
Correct.
Okay.
And it's a really small commode,
okay,
child-related
okay.
bathroom
gotcha.
for sure.
That changing table or something?
Okay.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah. Anything else?
This is Hannah James. I
Yes,
have one
Hannah.
question. For the two staffing requests, I see the salary and benefits. So that's combined for the rates we see here?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have that split at all with base and benefits?
In the form, I don't have it obviously here, but in the form that I provide the city, they break that out. They have a spreadsheet that breaks that out. And I could provide that
Okay.
next time.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Anything else? Very well. In that case, those in favor of approving the library budget requests for 2024 signify by saying aye.
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 Bye.
And opposed, nay? The ayes have it. That brings us to reference policy review, one of the easiest reviews we should have.
Yeah, this policy, this policy is, again, one of the ones that hasn't been reviewed in a while, and obviously there's no specific changes. It kind of obviously just puts parameters around service and the service being reference services, and kind of in case, when you're looking at, the big one is, for staff time upstairs and kind of not so one person doesn't dominate the whole, you're gonna sit with me the rest of the day and, solve all my problems, but it's more of giving some boundaries around that, and it's been helpful.
Well, I'm glad to see that these policies are still valid. As things change, they, we find old policies don't work, and I'm glad that they're reviewed regularly. So it's this, even though there's not, we approve with something with no changes, I'm glad to see it's reviewed regularly. Any questions or comments for Tim? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
Very good, thank you. And is there a second?
This is Jenna. I'll second.
Wonderful. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And that brings us to circulation policy draft.
Yes, again, this was reviewed by CIRC managers and the head of circulation and a branch services manager to kind of look at how we do things and how the policy's applied and how that affects, obviously, current items available, workflows, impacts on staffing, I would say the big changes, when you look at under borrower agreement, the last bullet point, where we moved the $125 in terms of reverting them to a collection agency to $500. Two things there, really looking at impact of workflow, at 125 versus 500, and, trying to give folks the benefit of the doubt. So it's kind of finding that better point beyond 125, that it rationalizes the workflow involved in terms of kind of what has to be done in terms of collection agency. Looking looking at loan periods, you can see that Metro Arts Pass is crossed out. That kind of went away when a lot of the art organizations went free. So it's free already, so it's one of those things that, it was a good idea when they were still charging money, but there you go. On the second page, fees and charges, and it's kind of like the top amount before we restrict usage from 15 to 30. And I think they did a look around the country and see how we were in line with that. So those are the big changes there in terms of the circulation policy, if anyone has any questions.
Questions for Tim?
So when it says the borrowers that have more than $30 in outstanding fees, so since we don't charge late fees or overdue fees anymore, is that like if they ruin a book or something?
Correct.
Okay, lost books, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because like we wiped out all of the overdue.
Overdue fines.
Okay,
Right.
gotcha,
That would be lost items.
perfect.
Anything else? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to
Very
approve.
good. Thank you. Is there a second?
I can second.
Wonderful. Any discussion? More questions for Tim? Second chance? No?
Do we really let people have 50 books checked out at a time?
Yep. That's been
Wow, okay.
long standing.
I didn't know that.
You know, that really helps families.
Okay,
And if there's, books are better when they're in the hands of kids instead of sitting on the shelves.
right.
So if mom and the four kids can go in there and everybody can kind of get what they want,
Right,
more or
okay.
less.
And is it 50 per card or
correct.
50 per family?
50 per card.
We have 4 cards in a family. You could have a lot of books there.
No?
But that's why they're there.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes they get lost.
Yeah.
Did that happen a lot with the snow we got this? All right. Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are approved. Okay. That brings us to collection development policy draft.
This was the long one.
Yes.
And it was a lot of streamlining, I think, removing some unnecessary language. Get to the page with the changes here. And changing the policy to reflect how we've changed the collection of what we have. And keeping in mind that we really focus on popular materials. We're lucky to be in community with Tri-College and that kind of thing. We run into where we work on building collections and some work and some don't. Adult literacy on page 7, you can see is basically crossed off. It literally did not circulate at all. So it was one of those things. And the other consideration, this really came out through master planning, just how important space, the shelving space is. And so it's kind of that, us doing the math on those usage and space. And the other one underneath it is just taking out the specific number of books in a book club in a bag, because it varies. And if you have a specific number, you also have need that specific number. If it varies, it varies, which is more honest, actually, in terms of that. On page 8, it's just kind of broadening the language. Under point 18, collection, getting rid of the word fiction, and have that just more broadly describing teens as in general, more specific, and then kind of being very upfront in terms of policy. The library does not limit teens to the use of only materials in the teen collection. Parents or guardians are responsible for materials chosen by teens. And again, it kind of goes back to our access to materials policy, where we say we don't act as local parentis. And it kind of, it's in line with that and reinforces that, which we think is important.
Any questions for Tim? In that case, I need a motion to approve.
This is Jenna. I motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion or more questions for Tim? No? In that case, those in favor of its approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. We have approved. And that brings us to the library programming policy draft.
This is a new one, and where this came from originally was our previous strategic plan identified the need for revisioning or kind of an overarching statement document related to library programming. When you think about how important programming is to the library and how much we do, and kind of having that kind of, we have basically policies that kind of set the parameters on just about everything else, which is good. And then we have, programming continues to grow. You listen to Megan's reports. It's really exciting. The folks that kind of put on the programming got together, obviously, and looked out at various other library policies related to programming and kind of took the best that was from those policies and kind of narrowed it down to kind of really reflect our culture and vision for programming at the Fargo Public Library. So we offer this to the board for approval. They did a tremendous job putting it together, by the way.
Looks that way. When was the last time we saw this many bullet points? Yeah, no, well done. It's well organized and sort of the enumeration seems well thought out. Are there any questions or a discussion about this? No? We're not forgetting the people that are here virtually. Anything?
This is Hannah. No, I think it's really well laid out.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. If that case, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Wonderful. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. And is there any discussion or any more questions for Tim or anybody? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have two of you on virtual, do we not?
Correct.
Okay.
Hannah and Carrie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We are approved. And that brings us to the legislative update, the fireworks.
Where we are is they're still working through. The big news is both 2360 and 1205 are alive and well. Currently, like anything else, it's a lot of back and forth, and they have to work through their processes in that regard. And we won't really know what it really looks like if and when whatever the governor gets and whatever the governor signs or where that goes. I think certainly continuing to communicate with city administration, city attorney's office, talking to state library, and these kind of things, trying to stay ahead, as much as there's a lot that goes on, the work in committee and stuff like that. So it's more of just keeping our ears to the ground right now to see where this goes. And it's kind of in between. It's, they got to the 4th of May. At some point, they have to create something or put something together, one kind of hybrid, or I don't know if they put two of them out there and what that would look like. But it's kind of a difficult waiting game because it's still, there's a lot of back and forth, to say the least.
Any questions for Tim?
I wish I knew more as to what they're doing.
Thank you, Tim. That brings us to impact report.
Yes, I everybody got a copy, and this is basically how we tell the story of the previous fiscal year. We send it out to elected officials, donors, and obviously have an electronic version online. Get it to the Friends Board as well. I think Melissa Duncan does a tremendous job working with some of the vendors that we have to help put it together. We've received always very positive feedback when we mail these out. So we try and tell the story, but not try to overtell the story, and try and boil it down as much as we can so it's digestible. But I think it's an important tool for tell the story of what we do on an annual basis.
I do hope that all the legislators get to page 17. Yeah. Any comments or conversation for Tim? No, that moves us to statistical reports, March usage.
Yeah, everything continues to outmatch the previous year, which is exciting. Except for a few volunteer hours. I think that had to do with weather more than anything else. The exciting thing is, even with the 14 programs canceled or rescheduled due to inclement weather, we still beat out the previous March in terms of usage and attendance, which is exciting. The big number is the circulation number for March, for this past March. The 88,036 items circulated, that is only second to 2019, which was a record year.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask how we were comparing to pre-pandemic stuff.
I would say this past March was the first time, the first month, where we really rubbed up against pre-pandemic, really got close. So this is the second highest circulation in March since the 3 libraries have been open at the same time. So that's exciting, to see that it was kind of incremental, in 21, 22, very incremental, but now this is, I hope the trend continues, and so it's exciting, and all the hard work that goes, you see how the policies are applied and how it impacts what we're able to do. So that's exciting in terms of usage for March of 2023.
Well, that takes us into financials.
Kind of active there too in terms of donations. On the income side, under unrestricted, $50 in memory of Ruby Crake, $75 in memory of Anella Nelson from the Fargo's Women's Club, and $2,300 in memory of Donald Lindbergh. There was a tremendous outpouring. He was a regular at Maine for many years, and it was a tremendous outpouring for folks. Yeah, and then on the restricted side, again, $100 in memory of Donald Lindbergh, and then a number of money for the Red River Valley Kids Read Program, 147 from the Moorhead Library Friends, 147 from Wapaton Library, 197 from the West Fargo Library. That's going to be a big kind of an area program, which is going to be exciting. The FM Redhawks gave us $600 for the Pete the Cat community engagement event, where we were able to hand out books at a Redhawks game. $1,000 from Concordia University for the 2022 One Book, One Community Author Visit expenses. $2,000 for the Northern Narratives from the Friends of the Fargo Public Library. Thank you, friends. And $2,850 for the Children's Summer Reading Program. Again, thank you, friends, for the money. That support for the Children's Summer Reading Program. On the expenditure side, the 1,200, that was the 600 from the FN Redhawks. $262 for Craft and Noons. Again, thank you, friends, for that. $297 for the Seed Library, that was very popular. Thank you, friends, for that. And $52 for the Go and Grow project. Under the program or books and materials, the Red River Valley Kids Read book donations. Again, thank you, friends, the Fargo Public Library, for that expense. And $60 for staff development for the Way to Go. And again, thank you for the friends. It's nice to have somebody from the friends that I can keep on saying thank you to.
Yes, thank you, friends.
Under financials, in terms of operating budget year-to-date, aggregate with 25% of the budget lapse, we're at 25.03% expended, so pretty much in line there across the board. In terms of revenue, you can see that through the end of March, we got just under $7,000 of revenue, of $6,820.46 submitted to the city.
Very good. Comments, questions, observations? Thank you, Tim. That brings us to Friends of the Library. Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Michelle Anderson, the president of the Friends, and we thank you for your thank yous. And I'll start off with that our bookstore, which is our primary revenue source, is doing very well. We're working to generate more foot traffic and attention, so we're having sales. We're doing some things within the store. Nearly all of our volunteer shifts are filled so that we are open the same hours as the library. And our sales are not only stable, but strong and rising. So we're pleased with that. And we have two upcoming events. The first is Sunday, April 30th from 2 to 2:30 at the main library in the Breezeway. It is a read-in and information session, and we are inviting the public to gather with us and learn about the impact of library issues being discussed at the North Dakota Legislature. The second is our book sale. We have two a year. This is the first of this calendar year. And that's the next weekend, Friday, May 5th and Saturday, May 6th.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Anyone have any questions? Observation? No? Thank you so much. And our next regular meeting will be May 16th. I hope to see you all there or hear you all there. Otherwise, thank you very much. We are adjourned.